Hey there, good afternoon. This is Thad from the User Services Department at the Rawlings Library. Um, yeah, thanks for checking in for a little afternoon walk time. I apologize we didn't have this last month, but I wanted to make sure to get a cool little walk tutorial um, uh, in here so you can get some ideas. Need a cheap meal idea, which this one definitely is. So it's just pork fried rice. Pretty simple recipe. The recipe is not based on any material that we have. However, I did want to share. I'll show it on the screen here real quick. Whoop, there we go. And then this is The Walk by J. Kenji Lopez Alt. And let me switch over here. And this is the listing in our catalog. So this is available to place on hold. And this is a very cool book. Um, it has all sorts of different recipes, but also goes real heavily into technique and um, and just different processes for um, wok cooking, preparing your ingredients, just all sorts of things. It's very in depth. So once again, if you're looking to get into wok cooking, I would check this out. And it's also available on Hoopla and Overdrive. Anyways, which speaking of Overdrive, for app access, remember to use the Libby app. But anyways, so we'll go ahead and dive into this. So let me get my screen set right. All right, and so I'll just narrate this. Once again, I recorded it and I turned the sound down. So um, uh, I'll just talk over this. Anyways, I started recording after I'd put the egg in. I didn't. I meant to have me pouring the egg into the wok on camera, but I got distracted and forgot. So anyway, so this is two eggs that I beat up or whisked up in a bowl, and I like when I do eggs in the wok. I like to add a little bit of sesame oil to the egg when I'm mixing it in the bowl, and I mix that oil in, and then. Um, And then, yeah, make sure that the wok is on high heat and smoking before you add anything to it. And then once it's smoking, add a little bit of cooking oil. I used olive oil here, but yeah, then just add the egg when the wok's hot. And I probably left it on there a little too long, but I'll tell you right now, it still tasted pretty good. Um, so still a couple of remnants of egg in there. And so now I'm gonna add a little more olive oil and make sure your wok is well seasoned. That'll help with sticking. So this is about a pound and a half of pork meat, specifically used for stews. Um, the recipe I had called for minced pork, and if you want to do that, you can. I'd I'd recommend probably throw it in a food processor and you can get it chopped up pretty good. Or I guess you could even use some ground pork if need be. Um, but so I marinated the pork first. A little bit of rice wine vinegar, a little bit of soy sauce, um, and I think put a little sesame oil in there. And one thing I'll explain now while the pork is cooking, so you want to try and get some good sear on the pork, which having that wok on high heat will help with that. But so there's a sauce that you make with pork fried rice, and the sauce that I made. So it called for about 2 tablespoons of um, oyster sauce, um, about 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce. But I didn't have the two different kinds, so I just used 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce I had on hand, and then add some ground white pepper to it, um, and then give that a mix, and then set that off to the side. Um, After the pork is cooking and gets a decent sear, and this is still working. You can see some spots where there's still some pink there. And usually, when you're cooking meat for a dish, for a wok dish, you cook the meat. You don't quite cook it all the way through, and then you set it aside and cook everything else. Then bring the meat back in later. This dish is different. This was just keeping the meat in there and letting that continue to cook. And so now what I'm doing is adding, I think it's half of a large onion and as much garlic as you like for taste. I love garlic. I think I have 5 cloves here. And then that was just some, yeah, ginger paste. And once you add that to the meat, start mixing that in. And the second that ginger gets in there, that smell is pretty good. And so now just trying to work the ginger and garlic and onion in with the pork and let that start to get mixed. And focusing here on the onion and the garlic softening because we'll need those softened before um, adding the rest of the ingredients. And so just giving it a good mix. You already can see some of those onions starting to get a little floppy, starting to cook a little bit, saute a little bit, and just give it a good little mix. Really helps to integrate everything. And that technique is, I think it's essential for wok cooking because it just really helps everything blend better if you do that quick little shake. And if you're brave enough, you do the full, toss in the air that you see the masters do. So I'm just letting that continue to cook. And I believe the next ingredient that we will add is, let's see here, I think it's a cup of peas and carrots. Now just still giving that a little bit more of a mix. Yeah, and that's one thing too I didn't mention. You want to try and let it sit, let the meat and onion and garlic mixture sit on each side in the wok for about 30 to 60 seconds. And so after doing that, then adding some peas and carrots. And just for the sake of quickness, this is just from a bag of frozen peas and carrots. Um, but they're frozen straight out of the freezer. I didn't thaw them first. Just threw them straight in. The recipe itself called for half a cup of peas and half a cup of carrots, but I figure a cup of peas and carrots mix will do the trick. And so now just letting the peas and carrots soften. And even though they're frozen, it's such a high heat, they start to cook really fast. And I think having those small pieces of carrot helps those cook as well. And so now just start to toss that a little bit and let the peas and carrots mix in. And now what we'll add here, so beforehand in my rice cooker, I did 2 cups of rice, and so then I'm just adding that rice now, and that uh, make sure the rice is cooked beforehand. Um, if you're new to this kind of cooking, yeah, whether it's noodles, rice, you always want to cook those beforehand before you mix them in. I should have left the sound on this. It would be cool to hear the sizzle, but I'll remember that for next time. And so then the last couple ingredients. So there's our fried egg from before. So I'm just going to kind of start to chop that in and mix it with the rice. And you do get a little bit of sticking once that rice gets in there. Um, but I think it's okay, and it cleans off pretty well. Typically, what I do whenever I cook something that kind of sticks, I'll then afterwards pour some or I'll put some water in the wok and then boil that for a little bit, and then that'll just help that stuff come off a little better. And then here's the sauce that I mentioned earlier. Once again, it's 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and um, uh, ground white pepper. And so now just going to start mixing everything in. Mix that egg in. Make sure to break the egg up and break the rice up, and it's starting to look pretty good. And so then what we served this with, um, we just served this with some. I didn't film that, but then I stir fried some. Did a quick stir fry of some vegetables like some snap peas and peppers and stuff like that. Once again, just from a frozen bag of stir fry veggies, but perfect for a quick weeknight dinner. All right, and so that's our rice. All right, so that's just a real quick, easy way to do some pork fried rice. Usually you have it in the restaurant, and they use the minced pork, so you'll get much smaller pork. But if you're cooking at home, you can do it however you want, and so that's why I just stuck with the stewed meat. But anyways, thanks again for tuning in. Try to or I am scheduled to do another one of these in August. I want to say, I think the 25th, if I remember right. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for checking this out. Hope it gave you an idea for, quick little weeknight dinner. Definitely tasty and filling. But yeah, once again, thanks again for checking it out. Take care.